Welcome to another episode of 3rd and 3 with Coach Roger Holmes. I'm Jason Holcomb, joined as always with the coach. Coach, second half was all the difference. Went from a tight game to a blowout. I know that had to make you feel good about what the boys were doing, but tell me what we did in the second half that made such a difference.
Well, I think our focus was just a little bit better, Jason. We got off to a good start, and then all of a sudden we gave up a long touchdown pass, and then we had a couple penalties. You know, Coach Versprilli and his Treutlen football team, now they played hard. They competed, which I knew they would with Coach V being the head man down there. Those guys are going to take on his personality, and there's nothing about him that's short of trying to be competitive and win. We just played a little bit better in the second half. I think we wore them down a little bit, and then when we got in a position where we had a comfortable lead, it kind of took them out of their game plan, I think, for a great part. So all in all, a real good night in all three phases.
Yes, I was going to mention, too, a couple field goals. That's always good to have in your pocket there for late in the year. I know that had to make you feel good, too.
John executed those very well. Now, we'd like to be scoring touchdowns and not have to settle for field goals, but again, Treutlen had a lot to do with that, and we made some mistakes ourselves, but it's nice to know that you've got a young man from about 45 yards in that can knock it through the uprights. And you know, that's been a Dublin tradition around here for a long time, to have a great kicker with Coach Hagler, and being around here for so long, and now having one that he trained in Barry Brown is continuing that tradition.
Love it, and love to see a victory, and we're going to talk more about what's coming up. But before we get to that, we want to check out our Optum Player of the Week. Coach, we tease, his nickname he likes to give is just touchdowns, but he got him a couple and had some good runs, and I know, he's just continued to be consistent for us on the offensive game. Talk about Mr. JT Wright.
Well, JT is no question about it now. He's a big play guy, and I think he ran for somewhere, I don't know, between 170 and 190 yards the other night. Not sure JT's been our player of the week up to this point this year, but he's continued to go out and put together great nights rushing. He just did a great job. At any time a running back has a great night, it's because his offensive line performed well. But JT played well defensively also, so he's very deserving of this award.
Well, and I always love watching him because he's intense, boy. That joker, he's intense, and I love seeing the intensity. And we got to keep that intensity this week, Coach, because we're welcoming in the Johnson County Trojans into the Shamrock Bowl. And anybody who knows is we haven't got to play them often, but when we do, it's always a game, even when the score might not show it. They always come in hard and heavy, and Coach Norton, he's going to bring it this week. So what do we have to do to make sure that we can keep a winning streak rolling?
Well, I think the most important thing for us on the defensive side of the football is be able to contain them on the perimeter, because they're running backs. They've got three of them now. If they get out in the open, we're not going to catch them. Probably the best combination of three running backs in our region as far as just top-end speed and ability to make big plays. I think that's huge for us. And then on the offensive side of the football, we've got to control the line of scrimmage and be able to get kind of what we had last week, where it's inside, outside, throw the football, do a lot of different things, and have balance. So just being an all-around good football team, I think, is huge. And, their backs are against the wall. I think they have to get a win this Friday night to not be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So we expect them to come in and bring their best game. And, we mentioned on the radio last week's possibility of the game getting moved to Thursday. Got confirmation last night. We will be playing Friday, normal 7:30 kickoff. And we'll get to host a JV game with Bleckley County here at 5 o'clock on Thursday. So that's awesome.
I know that has to make you feel good, too, to get the JV guys some time in there because, the last couple of years because of COVID, it's been kind of crazy. So I know that has to mean a lot to you.
Well, it does. Those young men come to practice every day. They want some reward. They want some playing time. It's sort of a skeletal crew because we've got so many sophomores that are participating and playing a great deal for us on Friday nights. But at the end of the day, we want them to play. Yes, we want to win, but more importantly, it's being able to evaluate them on the field by themselves, because hopefully a lot of those guys are going to be the ones that step up and play for you next year.
what you always hope for. But we want you guys to come out this week, 7:30 kickoff right here at Shamrock Bowl. And Coach, we kind of buried the lead. We showed it off at the beginning, but there's something real pretty behind us that everybody's going to get to enjoy, not just for this Friday, but for Fridays to come. And I know, me personally, I can't wait to see this thing in action. I hope y'all will come out and see it. But Coach, before we wrap things up, we still got to evaluate a couple of mustaches.
Let's go.
All right, Coach. We always like to have fun with this one, and this week I think we're going to have a little bit of fun, courtesy of the Tennessee Vols. But let's go ahead and just go to the tail of the tape. This week's mustache matchup is Ryan Gosling. You know, he's the one who's the actor and was in The Notebook and has all those memes about Hey Girl and all that. Well, he's our first one. He's looking pretty strong, but he's going up against one Lane Kiffin. Coach, we couldn't help but to do it to you. I hated that the Vols fans did what they did, and I know you're a diehard, but you wouldn't be throwing no mustard out on the field. But
no.
Who you got this week?
I'd have to go with Gosling's mustache is the best, but that deer and that light stare that Lane has can't be second any. That must have been when the mustard or the golf ball came out. But no, I'll go with Gosling on the mustache.
Well, we always like to have these mustaches, and you know the mustache stuff for Movember is coming up here shortly. So be sure to celebrate all the mustaches in the world. Send us a mustache if you got one that you'd like to put onto the mustache list. And want to make sure you guys come out this Friday. It's only 3 games left in the regular season. No guarantee of playoff seeding yet. We still got to do our part. We hope you're there to celebrate us on 3rd and 3 with Coach Roger Holmes. Go ahead and be bobbing your head. Oh, you got to be rocking out, Coach.